Wii Fit? Wii Fit in what? A jar? No, it doesn't. At this point, the two Wii branded games have done what they've set out to achieve, demonstrate the advantages of that wacky new Wiimote. Motion control wasn't the only thing Nintendo was pushing in the early days of the Wii though, but the motion controls definitely contribute to the other thing they were pushing. Nintendo called attention to the fact they were designing the Wii to be appealing to as many people as possible, including those who previously wouldn't touch video games with a 10-foot pole. One of the ways they went about pushing this motto was by making games with more wide appeal like Wii Sports, but it was also through the adaptation of the Wii to not only be a game console, but also a general lifestyle device. They achieved this in a multitude of ways, for example, the pre-installation of the news channel and the weather channel on the Wii out of the box. And they went totally wild with the lifestyle stuff over in Japan with stuff like the food delivery channel and Nintendo's own original streaming service. The idea was to make the Wii a household appliance in every living room. So we have the weather and the news, the ability to order food and stream media. How about practical health applications? Nintendo's mindset shifted to this in the development of their Wii Pack project, and thus development of the Wii Health Pack began. Shigeru Miyamoto, Bowser Jr.'s mother, served as general producer of the project. The game was inspired by his own experiences trying to maintain his health, and also the idea that getting fit could be fun. The development team experimented with the use of scales, eventually noting the fun in trying to evenly distribute your weight across two scales, contributing to the idea of balance being a focal point of the health pack. This led to the creation of the Wii Balance Board, a scale-like peripheral which you stand on to control games. The public eye caught a glimpse of Health Pack for the first time at E3 2007, where the game's final form was revealed, Wii Fit. The game was demoed on stage where the balance board got stage fright and ceased to function properly. After a few demos of some exercises, they brought out Reggie Fils-Aimé to exhibit the game's body test function.
My body is ready.
This is me waiting for the class to stop talking before I give a presentation.
This is high pressure.
Wii Fit first saw release in Japan in December of 2007, coming to the West in the spring of 2008, and it sold. Boy, it sold a lot. We're now 3 for 3 with Wii Series games being some of the top-selling games for their console. Wii Fit was something of a phenomenon, and not just any phenomenon, a controversial one. So a phenomenon. I have a thirst for fitness, and it's gotta be quenched. Give it to me, Wii Fit! Wow! This is the Wii Balance Board, our local health expert, coach, and bully, and it's made of gum. The real balance board connects to the Wii wirelessly and runs on 4 AA batteries. It's a big, heavy white slab with 4 pressure sensors, one for each of these regions. It's designed to be used on a hard floor, but in case you want to use it on a carpeted floor, 4 risers are included in the box for the bottom of the balance board. It supports up to 300 pounds and is designed to be used barefoot. And I'm just now realizing it's probably been about a decade since I've cleaned this thing. I decided to wear socks for this, which isn't recommended because it can make the board slippery, but if I have to trade my safety for foot comfort, so be it. There's a power button on the side of the board you press with your foot and a little blue indicator to show when it's on, just like the Wii remote. The balance board works pretty well overall. Despite my unit being years old, I find it still accurately reads which way I'm leaning and weight. I'm positive other units have degraded more though. There are also third-party balance boards. What the f*** is that? Back to the game, according to the digital balance board, a drop in quality and posture has come from a lack of exercise and bad habits, leading to some negative side effects, and, well, we gotta fix that. Through the magic of Wii Fit, we've got nothing to fear. After inputting our age and height, we start a body test, where we'll learn about our weight, body mass index, and center of balance. They let you adjust how much to subtract from your weight based on how heavy your clothes are, which is nice, or you can add weight. This is hard mode. Well, it's nice to know my center of balance is at least decent, but what about my BMI? I'm gonna assume most don't know what a BMI is. If it weren't for Wii Fit, I wouldn't either. Body mass index, a weight to height ratio calculated by dividing one's weight in kilograms by the square of one's height in meters and used as an indicator of obesity and underweight. Generally, a BMI of around 18 to 25 is considered ideal, though it tends to vary between people. As for me, Okay, listen, not to be up my own or anything, but I've been informed by medical professionals fairly consistently that I am in pretty decent health weight-wise. I mean, technically, Wii Fit doesn't say I am overweight, just that I'm supposedly at risk of being overweight. Wii Fit itself tells you not to look too far into BMI, especially for young people, and after doing a bit of research, I learned BMI is far from perfect. Yes, a good number of people with higher BMIs have an increased risk of heart problems and the like, but at the same time, a good number of people with lower BMIs do as well. BMI is also kind of finicky since it doesn't take things like muscle mass into account, and since muscle weighs more than fat, you can see how that would cause some problems. I guess Nintendo went with BMI instead of standard weight to make Wii Fit less intimidating, though, as you saw a moment ago, that didn't really work. I'm not going to get too sciencey on you, don't worry. Instead, let's talk about how Wii Fit does not hold the f*** back. Christ almighty, Nintendo, was this really necessary? The animation itself is bad enough, but the sound effect? Oh, and that's just the at risk of overweight/overweight sound. It gets worse. Who hurt you? This was, unsurprisingly, a tad bit controversial. Nothing huge, you know, just several parents complaining that their children were being fat-shamed, but it did ultimately lead Nintendo to apologize for any offense caused by terminology used in-game. Moving on from the fat-shaming is the balance test, consisting of one of several simple minigames that test your mind and body. They range from leaning side to side, balancing on one leg, breaking squares, to memory games. Your performance in these determines your Wii Fit age, which you want to be as close to your actual age as possible or lower. This concept is pretty much identical to the Wii Fitness age from Wii Sports, where your performance in 3 training games determine the age, though here it's not limited to people 20 and older. Wii Fit also lets you set a weight loss or even gain goal for yourself over a set period of time. 22 pounds in 2 weeks, can it be done? I could set a weight loss goal and try to see if Wii Fit helps me achieve that. No. I'm gonna be blunt, I already know Wii Fit isn't the best weight loss tool out there. Or a good one. It probably isn't gonna do much for me. It probably wasn't intended to be your sole weight loss tool anyway. I think it would be more fair to judge Wii Fit on how much of a workout it gives me, so that's what I'm gonna do instead. That about does it for the body test. You can only get one set of results a day, though you are able to retest if you want. But with that out of the way, let's train. I won't be much help with training since you'll be standing on me the whole time. Hey, stop making excuses and do your part. It's because of that lame excuse that we're assigned our own personal trainer, or rather, we get to pick one of 2.
I'm looking forward to working out with you.
I'm looking forward to going to Wendy's. Wii Fit has 4 categories of activities on offer. Yoga, which focuses on flexibility and breathing. Strength training, which highlights strengthening muscles on both sides of your body. Aerobics, which burns body fat. And balance games, which focus on hand-eye coordination. Favorites is just your 10 most played activities. This one is purple. We'll start with yoga. For this activity and strength training, I'm just going to be doing a general overview of the activities at hand, but for aerobics and balance games, I'll be outlining each activity in detail alongside my thoughts on them. The reason being that the aerobics and balance games are simply a whole lot more interesting and fun. I probably could try to detail every yoga and strength training activity. Yeah, I'm good. Starting with yoga, these activities involve mirroring the movements of the trainer and trying to keep your balance in check, as shown by the graph in the center or side of the screen. I actually don't mind yoga in real life. I'm not its biggest fan or anything, but it can be somewhat relaxing. It's just not very interesting to talk about. Each activity is a different pose, including the tree, sun salutation, warrior, and half moon. The ones that involve having both feet on the ground at the same time, I'm pretty good at, but stuff like the tree pose I really struggle with. Balancing on one leg is hard enough, but combined with keeping my other foot planted on the side of the leg I'm balancing on throws off my balance even more. One of the best parts of yoga and Wii Fit is its music. It fits perfectly and really adds to the atmosphere. You're judged primarily on how well you keep your balance, trying to stay as still as possible and keeping the red dot in the yellow circle. Yeah, I'm not very good. I think one of the primary issues with yoga and Wii Fit is how separated each pose is. When you do yoga, there's generally a direct flow from pose to pose, with no stopping in between. So overall, yoga just feels a lot less natural than it should in Wii Fit. It's not bad at all, I just think there are some things that need to be rectified. And then we have strength training. These activities primarily focus on toning specific muscles. Now, some of these can be pretty effective. Push-ups, planking, and lunges, well, they're exactly what you would expect. Actually, maybe they're a bit harder, considering planking on the hard plastic balance board is like... Others, though, well, honestly, I don't think the single leg extension is doing much for me. A lot of these are also scored on balance, so for example, you want to stay as still as possible during the plank. And speaking of scores, now would be a good time to mention how Wii Fit grades you. You're scored on a 4-star scale, and doing well enough on certain activities unlocks higher difficulties for them or even more activities. For example, more reps for the push-up and side plank. You get titles for your star rank as well, and boy, let me tell you, if I had a nickel for every time I was called a yoga novice, I would have like half a buck and change. Circling back to strength training, it's okay, but I don't think it's as effective as it could be. Okay, fantastic. The boring stuff is over. We can move on to what really matters. The balance games and aerobics ditch the trainer-based activities for me-based minigames, each with a unique theme. Let's do the balance games first. At the top of the list is soccer heading, which honestly is a perfect demo of the Wii balance board. The only controls are leaning left and right on the board, no Wii remote required. The goal is to head as many soccer balls being kicked at you as possible, with bonus points being awarded when you get multiple in a row. Sometimes a sadistic Mii or two will launch a shoe or a panda heading your direction, which you have to avoid so as to not lose points. I played this one all the time as a little kid. I could get a perfect score no problem. I probably could now if I tried, but I don't feel like it. Actually, I wasn't even the only one in my family with soccer heading skills. My dad also pulled off consistent perfect games, so props to you, Dad. Game 2, Ski Slalom. This one is the first of 3 skiing or winter sports themed minigames, the other 2 being in the balance category as well. The balance games and aerobics ditch the trainer-based activities for me-based minigames, each with a unique theme. Yeah, I lied. While soccer heading only involves leaning left and right, skiing throws leaning forwards and backwards into the mix, where leaning forward to a certain extent speeds you up and, well, you know what happens if you lean backwards. You gotta go through all the gates and get to the bottom of the mountain as fast as possible, but even just missing a single gate nets you a 7-second penalty, meaning you're pretty much guaranteed to get a maximum of 2 stars. Ski Slalom is okay, but I think it shouldn't have been as hard. I would have made the penalty like 4 seconds max. And speaking of skiing, Ski Jump. The classic Winter Olympic event, now without the skis, finally. 2 chances to jump as far as possible off the ramp. There's a sweet spot you have to lean to gain speed before extending your legs to jump, and you gotta stay as straight as possible in the air to avoid turning into a powdered donut hole upon landing. There's definitely some fun to be had with Ski Jump, but I think it's a tad bit too short. I would have vouched for 3 rounds over 2 maybe.
Oh my god, no.
Table tilts. You ever just have one of those days? Table tilts is basically one of those marble puzzles where you have to maneuver a board to get a ball in a hole. Eventually they throw in a couple of other marbles, and it can get a bit intense as you try to balance them all without any falling off and causing a damn earthquake. It's like playing Super Monkey Ball with your whole body. I like this one. I think it's one of the best demos of how the balance board can sense movement in all directions. It's also notable for being an attraction in the Big Controller exhibit at the Nintendo Museum in Japan, featuring a giant Wii balance board that requires 2 people to effectively operate. God, I wish I lived in Japan. You can get a damn keychain that plays the Wii U startup jingle. Swinging on in, like a rope, is Tightrope Walk, or for those in PAL regions, Tightrope Tension. That's an infinitely better name. Why did they change it for the North American release? Tightrope Walk is a tightrope walk, between 2 buildings nonetheless. You're pretty much playing Philippe Petit here. I like the visuals of this one. It looks like an old cartoon. You walk in place on the balance board, keeping putting an equal amount of weight on each step in mind. Leaning too far to the left or right makes your Mii fall off the rope and leads to an instant game over. Sadly, a 3,000-foot drop isn't your only obstacle. There are also these metal chompy things that charge towards you when you get close, and like in Ski Jump, you extend your legs to jump over them, but you have to stay straight when you do so or you'll fall off. The advanced and expert difficulties add some more obstacles, being more chompy guys, feathers from passing birds that block your view, and winds. I like this one, it's pretty cool. Balance Bubble returns to moving in all directions, this time from an overhead perspective. Your Mii's in a bubble and you have to navigate down a river without touching any walls, or a bubble's mortal enemy, bees. Like Tightrope Walk, there aren't any lives here or anything. When you touch a wall, that's it, you're dead. Balance Bubble's cool for a couple of reasons. It has a fun art style, it has bees, but the coolest thing is where it originated from. Recall my Wii Play video for a second. There I talked about a Wii demo at E3 2006 called Obstacle Course, where you control the Mii with a pointer through a maze and had to avoid touching walls. I talked about how that minigame was adapted into Pose Me in Wii Play, but that's not the whole story. The controls for Obstacle Course are what stuck with Pose Me, but the actual gameplay was adapted into Balance Bubble, just with the coins removed. That's not all. If you take the map from Balance Bubble and flip it on its side, you'll see that the overall level layout is practically the same as Obstacle Courses, with some of the more unique obstacles being changed to a general river theme. That's a pretty smart way to repurpose the assets. I like Balance Bubble, but it's far from the best minigame and can be a bit touchy to control. Penguin Slide. I found one. First of all, I think there's some skinning going on here. Second of all, I like that skybox. Third, in terms of gameplay, this one goes back to only leaning left and right. You tilt the iceberg back and forth to slide your Mii and collect as many fish as possible. Sometimes these orange ones appear and float over the iceberg for several seconds. Like, dude, what are you waiting for? You are going to be ravaged! In my opinion, Penguin Slide is one of the more forgettable minigames. It's not bad for sure, but it's Penguin Slide. I'm an amateur penguin. 8th up is Snowboard Slalom, the final of the winter sports theme minigames. No Penguin Slide doesn't count. This one is pretty much the exact same as Ski Slalom, except this time you rotate the board and stand on it sideways like a snowboard. It's a lot harder than Ski Slalom and still has that annoying penalty, so I'm not the biggest fan of this one. Really not much else to say. I like my victory dance. And finally, the last balance game, Lotus Focus, or Zazen depending on your region. Lotus Focus has a unique control method compared to the other balance games, as it actually has you sit on the balance board cross-legged while trying to stay as still as possible. Alright Gym Bros, let's zen.
Begin.
Jesus Christ! I don't know why. I don't know why they decided to make Wii Fit a damn horror game. When I think Zen, my mind generally doesn't go to jump scare. This scared the shit out of me when I was a little kid. You know what? No, it scared the fuck out of me. Also, is it just me or is this whole setup a horrible idea? Yep, just a candle on a floor. A wood floor. What could go wrong? I don't think I'm going to be able to Lotus Focus when the entire room is engulfed in hot. And now we've come to the last category, aerobics. Our first activity is Hula Hoop Registered Trademark. In this one, you circle your hips around as if you were hula hooping, and lean left and right occasionally to catch the hula hoops the Miis throw at you. And if you don't in time, you get blunt force traumaed. Hula Hoop Registered Trademark has some pretty good music that gets progressively more bombastic as you collect more hoops. I like when games do stuff like that, that's fun. Next up is Super Hula Hoop Registered Trademark. The gameplay of this one is more or less exactly the same as Hula Hoop Registered Trademark. The difference is that it opens with a round where you swing your hips clockwise, and then after a set amount of time switches to a round where you swing them counterclockwise. I'm way better at doing clockwise myself, and I guess the idea with Super Hula Hoop Registered Trademark is that it forces you to train both sides. Basic step? More like basic strap, I don't know, man, I'm tired. Basic step is Wii Fit's answer to DDR. You step on, off, and to the left and right of the board to the beat. It's incredibly basic, leagues easier than DDR. Yeah, no shit, Harry. I am beyond impressed that someone was able to sell out an entire theater on the prospect of a show where people slowly step on and off a board in unison. If you thought basic step was cool, you are not prepared. Advanced step plays extremely similar to basic with some added moves. Kicking at your leg and stepping on the board sideways. The leg kick pretty much involves just not putting down your other foot, and stepping sideways is exactly what you would expect, though for me at least it seems to have a lot of trouble registering. They also add clapping to the beat, which you don't actually have to do since you don't use the Wii remote, you just use your hands, and the balance board doesn't know your hands exist. The music track is a bit better here, probably one of the most iconic tracks to come from Wii Fit. So that's how they sold out a theater. There's one more step variation in aerobics, free step. This feels like cult activity. For this one, you pick a timer of 10, 20, or 30 minutes and just step on and off. Simple as that. The Wii Fit trainer talks through the Wii remote to guide you if you want to change the TV input while you do it or something. Basic Run is a jogging simulator. You jog in place and that's the whole game, though oddly, this one doesn't use the balance board. Instead, you're instructed to step off the board and put the Wii remote in your pocket. I find that putting it in your pocket makes the speed far too sensitive though, so I opted just to hold it instead. According to the Wii Fit manual, Basic Run takes place on an island creatively titled Wii Fit Island, featuring even more imaginatively named locations such as White Sand Beach, Rocky Peak, and Wii Fit Town. Sure. You follow another me on various routes on Wii Fit Island, though sometimes a dog will run by and you'll have the opportunity to pass your guide by and start following the dog instead, which takes you on a different route. Running is one of the more effective Wii Fit workouts. Running in place is a surefire way to eventually work up a sweat, but I like this one because of the scenery. It's a shame we'll probably never see Wii Fit Island again. The way this one is scored is really strange. You aren't scored based on your distance or speed. Instead, you're scored on your burn rate, which actually means rhythm or how consistent your running speed was. Why they didn't label it as such is beyond me. Up next, 2-player run. This is literally just basic run and split screen. I have no idea why this is here. If someone else wants to play running and Wii Fit with you, they can just run alongside you. Why is this a thing? It's not like your partner's data is saved or anything. What a strange inclusion. Like the step games, there's one more variation of running, free run. This one is pretty much the same idea as free step, though here, unlike the other running games, you're graded on how much ground you cover instead of your rhythm. The Wii remote speaker guides you, so you can change the channel in this one too. I don't know why Nintendo felt it was necessary to include 3 variations of running. Actually, fun fact, the sole reason free run was included was to fill an empty space on the aerobics menu, according to a Wii Fit Iwata Asks interview. Couldn't you just do 2 rows of 4 then? Regardless, free run is fine. And now, the last activity in Wii Fit, rhythm boxing. Rhythm boxing is set in the same training gym as Wii Sports Boxing, though sadly without Matty Boy. The instructor gives you patterns you have to memorize, and you punch to the beat. You punch left and right and position your feet correctly, and in the higher difficulties they introduce both dodging and jump scares. I really like that this game lets you go absolutely apeshit on the punching bag robot at the end. That's a real fun one.
I know you can do better than that. Let's hit the gym again tomorrow.
And with that, I've covered all the activities in Wii Fit. Barring the yoga and strength training ones because they're lame. Now that I've played each and every one, I'd like to circle back to the question I asked earlier. Is Wii Fit an effective workout tool? Yes and no. Largely no. I would say a handful of the strength activities do offer you a legitimate workout. You can't beat push-ups and sit-ups, but a good number of them rely too heavily on balance. The yoga section provides an okay yoga experience, but I think it's really held back by a lack of proper flow between poses. And obviously, a good chunk of the balance and aerobics games offer little to no fitness benefits. You can get a decent workout with Wii Fit, I'm not going to deny that, but compared to an actual gym workout, I mean, which do you think is going to do more for you? You can find several stories online of people's weight loss journeys using Wii Fit, but that's absolutely the exception and not the rule. But at the same time, I would argue fitness doesn't necessarily have to entail being all sweaty and disgusting. Even just moving around a bit and not being lethargic is a part of fitness. The game portions of Wii Fit do help with that. Being able to control a game with your body does at least get your heart going a little bit. Plus, it is fun. It may only be giving you a slight heart rate increase, but it's still a fun time. Wii Fit also provides a decent way of looking into your weight and setting goals though. As a daily health check-in software, it works well. Of course, you would still have to put in the disc anytime you wanted to check, but Wii Fit channel. Through Wii Fit itself, you can download a shortcut channel to your Wii called the Wii Fit channel. It contains the full body tests and graphs, though it lacks the training activities, so if you just want to use Wii Fit as a health tracker, this was made for you. But then you realize it's 2025 and there are now far better and more convenient ways of tracking your health that don't involve a console and a game that are nearly 2 decades old. There's the rub. I found it. It's over there. For the time though, Wii Fit was cool. It became one of the Wii's and by extension Nintendo's most iconic games. It also kickstarted the Xer gaming genre. It kind of existed before, I'll bring up DDR again, plus you had junk like iToy Kinetic, but Wii Fit inspired a lot of similar games, mainly on Wii, but also extended to the Xbox Kinect and later on the PlayStation Move. The game itself might not be phenomenal, Game of the Year material, but it's beloved by me and a whole lot of other people, so I think it's alright. And like Wii Sports, Wii Fit was used for rehabilitation for recovering patients. Tilt table game. Before I wrap up here, I'd like to make a public service announcement. If you own a balance board and haven't touched it in a long time, please check the battery compartment. There is a 90% chance it is absolutely caked in battery corrosion. For the sake of you, your family, and your county, vinegar, baking soda, do what you need to do. I don't have a joke, I'm dead serious, just do it. Alright, what's the next Wii Series game I have to look at? Oh, son of a bitch.